Disappointed!
This video is going to talk about how I pick my fastest, and after working with Troy Grady from Cracked Code, turns out that Rusty Cooley and I pretty much have the same approach to picking as fast as we can. And working with Troy, he's taught me all kinds of stuff about myself I never knew, such as how fast I really can pick. According to this clip, the fastest point I was picking was 21 notes per second. And there is a specific way I approach picking that quick. It's not something I can sustain for a very long time. And I'm not even sure when exactly I started using this type of technique. I remember watching the video 1 from Metallica and watching Kirk Hammett pick something quick in there during one of the solos, and it was kind of like a light bulb moment. You know, it was like the switch turned on, and then I started trying to mimic something I saw him do. But after like watching the video again, I'm not sure what it was in that performance that made me start trying to pick the way that I do. But basically what it is, it's like a controlled muscle spasm. At least that's the way I would refer to it as. And I have like 3 different ways that I pick. First way is kind of a thumb thing. So I'm moving around at different angles here so you can hopefully see how my thumb, and my index is moving as well, but I feel like my thumb is the driving force behind this type of picking. And if you're familiar with Troy's work, then you know all about pick slanting. I'm not going to go into pick slanting on this video. I'm just talking about how I go back and forth on stuff. The other way that I pick is I start using more wrist. Definitely more chord oriented. For the really, really fast stuff, this muscle right here gets activated, and I'm also flexing the tricep and my bicep, so there's a lot of, it's kind of a jiggle that happens. Like I'm able to tense up those muscles and start to shake my hand. So one thing Troy explained to me that helped him and has helped other guitar players that he's worked with is simply having the explanation of certain movement patterns that other guitar players use. That can be the aha moment for the learner. So hopefully this explanation I give you can be your aha moment in reaching your fastest picking speeds in alternate picking. So again, I'm tensing up my arm here. So if you can get that to come up, that's going to help out a lot. Now I find it easier to make it come up if I pull my wrist back like this here, which is pretty close to how I pick. Like I'll pull my wrist back, and also when I'm picking, I have this section of my hand as an anchor point. That's on the guitar when I'm playing my fastest. And I do need to sit down to feel the most comfortable playing my fastest. So standing up right now, I'm at a slight disadvantage. So I'm going to demonstrate picking quickly on all 6 strings, and hopefully you can see that my anchor point is still on the guitar, even though it might slightly change where it's being anchored. So see down here on the low E string, my anchor point is on the body of the guitar, whereas like the high E string, my anchor point will be on the strings themselves. And when playing with a lot of distortion, you want to be able to mute the strings anyway, so kind of important to have your hand on those other strings you're not using at the moment. So if you can practice activating this muscle right here, that might help you get into that motion there. So like, again, I'm pulling my wrist back. You don't have to really crank it back either. You don't want to do anything to injure yourself. Just pull it back a bit, and then see if you can start jiggling your arm. So you will have your bicep flex a bit. It's not like you're trying to flex it like this. So if you weight lift it all, think of it like you're doing a hammer curl. So here is your regular bicep curl. You got your palm facing away from you and curling like this. Hammer curl is basically, think of it like you're hitting something with a hammer. And that's kind of what's happening here. That hammer curl muscle. I think of it like the top of your forearm that's popping out. So if you can just get that flexing, and it's like, I feel it mostly here and in the tricep. Bicep would be like the third main muscle. So mostly forearm, and then second in command is the tricep, third in command is the bicep. And you just start jiggling. So if you can do that, then you might be able to start getting used to this type of picking. Now I find it much easier to have it controlled to some extent by keeping that pivot point or the anchor point on the guitar. If I was floating my hand, I didn't have that anchor point, I would lose all kinds of accuracy and speed. See, I have like, there's no frame of reference for my hand. It doesn't know what to do. But keeping it locked onto the guitar, suddenly I'm able to control what's happening a lot better. Now, if you're wondering, will practicing with a metronome help you out? Yes, it will. I will always advocate metronome practice to get you better. And yes, it is kind of like, again, a controlled spasm where you're just kind of like trying to shake the shit out of your arm. But there is some control over what's happening. And to really hone in that control, metronome. Some people don't need to do it. But I had to, and I still do metronome work when I'm trying to practice something that's a challenge for me. So yes, metronome can absolutely help getting this technique down. But before you do this stuff with the metronome, if you have yet to learn how to activate those muscles, give that a try. Just pull your wrist back a little bit, try and get that muscle on top here to pop out, and see, you can just start jiggling your arm. If you can do that, put that part of your hand on the guitar and start shaking that pick. That wraps things up for this video. Please ask any questions you may have. If you liked what you saw in this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel if you have yet to do so. I would very much appreciate it. Lastly, Mile High Shred has a Patreon page. It would be very awesome if you could check it out. YouTube viewers can click the annotation up right now for more information. Facebook users, please use the